I told your mom you cheated because I knew she'd take my side, she said while smiling. So I sent her the screenshots proving she lied. Now her family knows exactly who the real cheater was. Hey viewers, before we move on to the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you want to see more stories like this. Thanks. When I first met Julia, I thought she was different. Not quirky different, not red flag different. Just grounded. She had this calm, confident presence that made people instantly like her. She worked in PR, the kind of job that requires you to smile while swallowing every ounce of irritation. And she was damn good at it. We met at a friend's birthday dinner. She made a joke about my old phone. I fired back about her avocado toast obsession, and by the end of the night, she'd stolen half my dessert and all of my attention. For a while, it was easy. We were the couple that people pointed to and said, "You two are lucky." My mom loved her, really loved her. They texted about recipes, swapped skincare advice, even went shopping together when Julia said she wanted to bond with the woman who raised such a gentleman. It was almost too good to be true. But over time, little things started to change. Julia began inserting subtle comments that didn't feel like jokes anymore. "You're really close to your mom, huh? It's sweet that you call her every day, but maybe you should, grow up a bit. You always want her approval first. It's kind of cute." She said it with a laugh, but her tone always had that undertone, the one that made you second guess if you were being criticized. At first, I brushed it off, but the more comfortable she got, the more possessive she became about the narrative of our relationship, how we looked to others. She started posting couple selfies with captions like, "Finally found someone who gets me." Her friends loved it. My mom commented hearts. But privately, Julia was different. If I forgot to compliment her outfit before we left the house, she'd go cold. If I disagreed with her about something trivial, like a restaurant choice, she'd say, "You really like making me look stupid, don't you?" She knew exactly how to twist normal moments into little guilt trips. I thought I could handle it. I told myself she was just sensitive, that it wasn't manipulation, just communication differences. Until the night, I found her staring at my phone. Not scrolling, studying. "What are you doing?" I asked. She looked up, perfectly calm. "Just checking something. You've been acting weird lately. I'm literally watching Netflix with you." "Yeah, and ignoring me all week." That's when I realized something dangerous about Julia. She didn't argue to solve things. She argued to win. And if she couldn't win in private, she'd make sure she won in public. I just didn't know yet how far she'd go. The shift didn't happen overnight. It was gradual, like a storm creeping in on a clear day. Julia started making little comments in front of my mom that didn't make sense. Things that sounded harmless on the surface but carried venom underneath. One evening, Mom invited us over for dinner. Julia arrived with flowers, hugged her like always, then, while they were setting the table, said, "He's been so distant lately. Work stress, maybe. I don't even know if he still likes living with me." She laughed it off when Mom looked surprised, then added, "I'm probably just being paranoid. He's just different lately." I was sitting right there. She said it sweetly, like she was confiding in my mother because she cared. It was perfect manipulation. Plant a seed of doubt, then act like the worried girlfriend. Mom looked at me later and asked if everything was okay. I shrugged it off, but I saw it in her eyes, that hesitation. The same look she used to give when she caught me sneaking out as a teenager. Julia noticed it too, and she doubled down. Over the next few weeks, she started accidentally dropping comments about a girl from my office. A real person, Amanda, someone I worked with but barely talked to outside of project meetings. Julia would say things like, "Your mom mentioned you work with a girl named Amanda. Is she cute? I saw a text from Amanda pop up. You two must talk a lot. I'm not worried. I trust you. I think." Then she started doing something worse, curating evidence. She'd take screenshots of my notifications out of context, forward messages from my coworkers to herself, even send herself messages as me when I left my phone charging. At first, I thought I was imagining it. Then one night, I saw my own contact name in her messages, with texts I'd never written. Flirty, suggestive lines she must have typed from my phone while I was in the shower. When I confronted her, she didn't flinch. "Oh my God, you're paranoid. Why would I ever do that?" Then, when I pressed further, "If you really think I'd make something like that up, maybe we do have a problem." I didn't know it yet, but that's when she started preparing the final act. Because a week later, Mom called me in tears. She said Julia had shown her screenshots, said she'd caught me cheating, said she didn't want to tell Mom but couldn't stay silent because she deserved to know what kind of man her son had become. I was speechless. Julia had turned my own mother, the one person who'd always defended me, into a weapon, and she'd done it so convincingly that even I started questioning reality. That was the day I realized I wasn't dating someone emotional. I was dating someone dangerous. When Mom called me that night, her voice shook in a way I hadn't heard since Dad's funeral. I didn't want to believe it, she said, but she showed me everything. The messages, the times you said you were working late. Mom, I interrupted. Those messages aren't real. She showed me screenshots. Honey, I saw your name. Because she faked them. There was silence, the kind that feels like a door closing. Then, why would she do that? That question hung in the air like a blade. Because honestly, I didn't have an answer yet. Julia had anticipated this exact reaction. She counted on it. She knew that if she made the lie outrageous but detailed enough, a specific coworker, familiar timestamps, fake apologies from me, people would believe it. Because normal people don't fake evidence that elaborate. Normal people don't rewrite reality. The next day, Mom didn't respond to my messages. Neither did my sister. A few mutual friends started acting distant too, suddenly busy, suddenly unsure what really happened. Julia, meanwhile, played the grieving victim. She posted vague quotes about betrayal and finding the strength to walk away from lies. She even changed her profile picture to a black and white selfie with the caption, "Healing." Her friends flooded the comments with support. My coworkers started whispering, and I, the supposedly calm, rational guy, was standing in the middle of a narrative I didn't write, watching my life implode one rumor at a time. I tried calling her to confront her directly, but she wouldn't pick up. When she finally did, she sounded heartbreakingly composed. "I didn't want it to go this far," she said softly. "But you left me no choice. Your mom deserved to know. Julia, you lied. You showed her fake screenshots." She sighed. "If you didn't want people thinking you cheated, maybe you shouldn't act like you did." And that was it. That was the moment I realized I wasn't just dealing with emotional immaturity. I was dealing with someone who genuinely believed that her version of reality was the truth. That night, I couldn't sleep. I went through every photo, every message, every social post she'd ever made, searching for some clue, some pattern. And then I found something. A file on my laptop, hidden in the downloads folder, timestamped from when Julia borrowed my computer to print something. It was a folder labeled proof. Inside were the doctored screenshots she'd made, raw, editable versions, and a draft of the message she'd sent to my mom. Every single evidence file she'd shown people was fabricated on my own devices. And suddenly, the fear gave way to something sharper. Not rage, not grief, clarity. If Julia wanted to play the truth game, I'd make sure she lost by her own rules. I didn't confront her right away. That's the thing about pathological liars. They expect outrage. They need you to react so they can twist it into validation. I decided not to give Julia that satisfaction. Instead, I spent 3 quiet days collecting everything. Every screenshot file, every metadata stamp, every trace that proved she'd used photo editing software on my laptop. I even exported the file history showing the fake messages were created under her login profile. When I had everything compiled, I sent one short email to my mom with the subject line, "You deserve the truth, the real one." I didn't defend myself with words, just attached the files and timestamps. Within an hour, my phone rang. "Oh my God," Mom whispered, crying. She really faked all of this?" "She did," I said. "I wanted you to see it before anyone else." "I'm so sorry, sweetheart. I should have trusted you." That apology didn't fix everything, but it was the first piece of my life falling back into place. The next day, I showed the same folder to Julia's coworker, Megan, the one she told everyone I cheated with. Megan's jaw dropped as she scrolled through the files. "She told everyone you were obsessed with me," she said, disgusted. "I can't believe this." "You don't have to," I replied. "Just tell the truth if anyone asks." By the end of that week, the whispers started to turn. People stopped avoiding me. Julia's vague posts about toxic men began to get skeptical comments like, "Wait, weren't those screenshots fake? And didn't you make those yourself?" The mask was slipping, and she knew it. That weekend, she finally texted me. Julia, can we talk? Please. Me, about what? Julia, you've made everyone think I'm crazy. I never meant for this to go public. Me, you made it public when you sent fake messages to my mother. Julia, you don't understand. I was hurt. You were pulling away from me, and I panicked. Me, so you destroyed my reputation to feel in control again. Julia, I just wanted you to care. That line made me stop cold, because it summed up everything. Julia didn't want peace. She wanted chaos that proved she still mattered. And for the first time, I didn't feel anger. Just a quiet kind of pity, followed by detachment. I cared once. I texted back. But not like this. Not anymore. She sent 10 more messages that night, alternating between apologies, justifications, and guilt trips. I didn't respond to a single one. By Monday, her lie was officially dead. Her friends stopped defending her. A few even reached out to me, saying they felt duped. Her job found out too. Turns out she'd been using company resources to create some of those fake screenshots. HR didn't appreciate that. Julia was put on leave pending investigation. And for the first time in weeks, I slept soundly. But I knew it wasn't over. People like Julia don't just fade away quietly. They always come back once they've lost control. And I was right. 3 months later, she showed up at my new place, standing on the porch with tears in her eyes and a trembling voice saying, I just want to talk. It was late afternoon when I opened the door. Julia looked nothing like the woman who once bragged about taking control of her narrative. Her hair was unkempt, her makeup smudged. She held a folder in one hand and a coffee she clearly hadn't touched in hours. Can I come in? She asked. I stepped aside, not out of warmth, but composure. I wanted witnesses if she tried to twist this later. So I kept the door open. She hesitated. You look different. I am. Julia sat on the edge of the couch like a student waiting for detention. I know I hurt you, she began, eyes glassy. But you have to understand, I wasn't trying to ruin your life. I raised an eyebrow. You sent my mother fake screenshots of me cheating. I panicked. You were getting distant. I felt you slipping away, and your solution was character assassination. Her lips trembled. You're making it sound worse than it was. I don't have to make it sound worse, I said evenly. It was worse. She blinked rapidly, searching for an angle. I lost everything because of this. My job, my friends, my family barely speaks to me. You won. Okay, you got what you wanted. I didn't want you to lose anything, Julia. I wanted you to tell the truth. The rest was just gravity. Things falling where they were always meant to. Her expression hardened. You act so perfect. Like you didn't contribute to any of this. Maybe I did, I said. I ignored the red flags. I assumed honesty meant the same thing to you as it did to me. That was my mistake. For a moment, she looked at me with something close to panic. So that's it. You're just done. I was done the second you chose fiction over reality. She reached out, almost touching my hand. We could start over. No more lies. I'm different now. I've learned. I gave a small, tired smile. That's the same line you used when you faked those screenshots. You said, I've learned my lesson. Then you doubled down. Tears rolled down her cheeks now, but they didn't move me. I'd seen her cry before. Same tears, different script. She whispered, you used to care. I did, I said quietly. And then you taught me what caring costs. I stood, signaling the end of the conversation. Julia, this is closure, not a restart. Whatever version of me you think you can still manipulate, he's gone. Her face twisted between anger and disbelief. You think you're better than me now? No, I said. Just healed. I walked her to the door. She turned back one last time, voice breaking. You'll regret this. I shook my head. Julia, regret is your language, not mine. And I closed the door. For weeks after that, she tried smaller ways of clawing back into my life. Fake accidental messages, mutual friends delivering her apologies, even a letter to my mom claiming she'd been misunderstood. None of it worked. I'd built a life too peaceful for her to infect again. When I looked back months later, from a new apartment, new job, new relationship, the memory of Julia didn't hurt. It didn't even sting. It just didn't matter. She wanted to rewrite my story. But I learned the best revenge isn't proving someone wrong. It's living so well that their lies become irrelevant footnotes in your success. And that's exactly what I did. It happened almost a year later, at my sister's engagement party. I'd moved on long before that night. A new job, a quiet apartment with floor-to-ceiling windows, and someone new. Emily, who didn't play emotional chess for attention. My family loved her instantly. Even my mom, who once couldn't look me in the eye because of Julia's lies, now kept nudging Emily and whispering, "You're good for him." Life had finally settled into something soft and real. So when Julia walked into that restaurant, uninvited, clinging to a mutual friend, I almost didn't recognize her. The confidence she used to weaponize was gone. Her smile looked practiced, strained. For a moment, she froze when she saw me. Then her eyes darted to Emily, laughing, calm, effortlessly radiant. And I saw something in Julia's face that wasn't anger or regret. It was disbelief. Like she was seeing the future she'd tried to steal from me, alive and right in front of her. She approached during dessert, when everyone was relaxed and the music was low enough to talk over. Emily was in the restroom. Julia stood near the table, holding a half-empty glass of wine. "You look good," she said. I nodded. "I am. I've been meaning to reach out. To apologize again. Things got really bad for me after everything." She glanced around, lowering her voice. "People won't hire me. My family thinks I need therapy. And Megan, that coworker, she still tells people I'm a liar." "I can't imagine why," I said dryly. She swallowed. "I deserve that. I just hope maybe you could say something to help people see I'm not a monster." I studied her for a moment, not out of bitterness, but curiosity. Even now, her first instinct wasn't accountability. It was image control. "I did say something," I said finally. "I said the truth." Her eyes widened slightly. "That's not what I meant. I meant you could." "Julia," I interrupted, calm and steady. "You made your version of me. You lived in it until it collapsed. Now you want me to help rebuild your reputation? I think I'll sit this one out." Her jaw clenched. "You think you're so righteous." "No," I said. "Just free." Emily returned then, placing her hand lightly on my arm. Julia's eyes flicked between us, between the piece she could never manufacture and the woman who didn't need drama to feel important. I looked Julia in the eye one last time. "You once said my mom deserved to know the truth," I said quietly. "Turns out, she does, and so does everyone else. And they finally do now." Julia blinked, mouth tightening. Then she turned, muttering something under her breath as she walked away, her shoulders tense and small. Later that night, Mom pulled me aside. "You handled that with grace," she said softly. "I didn't need revenge," I replied. "Just distance." She smiled. "And peace." I nodded. "Peace takes care of the rest." Across the room, Emily laughed with my sister, her face lit by soft light. Julia was gone, not just from the restaurant, but from the orbit of my life. I raised my glass quietly. To truth, to distance, to never explaining yourself to the people who tried to rewrite you. Because sometimes, the best justice isn't public humiliation. It's becoming someone their lies can't touch. And I had done exactly that. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. What do you think about this story? Share it in the comments.